Okay, so I'm going to admit everyone. Is that okay? Okay, so I'm going to admit everyone.
I barely went out.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for attending tonight. We're going to give a few minutes for the rest of the people to come in. So get comfortable and we'll start in a few minutes.
And I want my sound up as much as it'll go. There. All right. How come I can't hear anybody?
Okay. So maybe we can start. I can start presenting and we'll let folks come in as we go. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Well, tonight, if you're on the East Coast, and a little earlier if you're on other time zones. So I'm Camilo Otero. I'm Artist Programs Manager at Center for Book Arts. And tonight's program is called These Are Our Roles, Tools, Forms of Connectivity with Lukaza Branfman-Verissimo. This program is in conjunction with their exhibition Rituals Here, which is currently in view at Center for Book Arts. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on unceded territory of the Lenni Lenape people. We also have a few notes on accessibility before we get started. Live captions are available tonight. If you click on the CC closed caption button at the top of your screen and select show subtitles. The event today is being recorded and will be available to view online afterwards. If you do not want your face or name to appear publicly, please keep your video off, and you can also rename yourself. Please also keep your mics muted. I know there will be, this is a two-part event. The first part will be an artist presentation, and the second part will be a little more interactive. Special thanks to our members and donors. Support for the exhibition Rituals Here and this program is provided by the New York State Council on the Arts with the support of Governor Kathy Hochul and the New York State Legislature, and public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council. The exhibition Rituals Here is on view at Center for Book Arts through June 24th. Lukaza Branfman-Verissimo uses they, them pronouns, is an artist, activist, educator, storyteller, and curator who lives between Lisjan Ohlone Land, Oakland, California, and Powhatan Land, Richmond, Virginia. With roots in storytelling, Branfman-Verissimo's work is informed by their broadcasting, Black, Indigenous, queer, trans, people of color stories. Their work has been included in exhibitions and performances at Konsthall C, Stockholm in Sweden, September Gallery in Kinderhook, New York, EFA Project Space in New York City, Leslie Lohman Museum also in New York City, Yerba Buena Center for the Arts in San Francisco, and Berkeley Art Museum and Pacific Film Archive in Berkeley, California, amongst others. Their artist books and prints have been published by Endless Editions, Childish Books, Press, Night Diver Press, and most recently with Printed Matter. Thank you, Lukaza, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Camilo, for that generous introduction and for everyone who tuned in today. Yeah, I feel like it's, a sacred little space, the folks that joined in today. And just feeling everyone's presence. So thanks for being here. So my name is Lukaza Branfman-Verissimo, and as Camilo said, this is an activation and talk and workshop in conjunction with the show that I have up at Center for Book Arts right now called Rituals Here. And very excited that it's been extended a few more months until the end of June. So still time to go check out the show if you're in the city or find yourself near Midtown Manhattan anytime soon. There's also 3 other incredible shows that are up at Center for Book Arts that I'm honored to share space and energy with. So thank you so much for being here. These are our tools, roles, forms of connectivity that become the banner, the tablecloth holder of friends and community, a web, net, sacred space, curtain for an ecosystem of work that shares roots. I also want to shout out to the full moon, which is tonight. I hope you look out in the sky and maybe your Saturn return is ending. I don't know. A lot of people are doing that. That's happening. I hope that there's yeah, just some like markings that we will activate today together, that maybe will call in this full moon time, this shifting of seasons. Rituals Here opened at Center for Book Arts on January 13th. And a year before that, a different iteration of Rituals Here opened in Richmond, Virginia. I like to reuse titles when they feel like they have more to give. Rituals Here, as in here and there, and with you and with us here together. The claiming of here, as in this marking of place and space, and also here as in the becoming of what this space and moment can become when we all hold it together. That rituals are not static acts, but food and ingredients to our lives, interwoven in this space and on and in patterns reaching for a hug. A photograph of Rituals Here on the left, a cart that held an altar on top and a lending library below, a portable offering space that got wheeled around the space depending on the user and the moment. And on the right, a visitor reading on a milk crate in front of the Center for Book Arts iteration, which will be open for the next 3 months. We're going to be crafting baskets full of lists a little bit later, but until then, I wanted to start this sharing off with lists of my own. I am a big lover of the list. Tools and forms and roles that acted like glue to the creation of the piece that is currently at Center for Book Arts. That all roles are tools and tools are forms that form the ways we move through the world and want to be able to place words next to each other that speak different tones felt like the score to crafting the language in this piece. To make all words tell a new kind of story when they're in relation to each other. The connective tissue of the weaver and the caretaker in the creation of the telling of our stories of survival and flight and breath. The ways we must nurture and warm and support the seeds and foundational ideas to then harvest and watch them bloom in the future. That each role along the way is key. As abolitionist thinker, writer, and activist Mariam Kaba reminds us, collectivity, because everything worthwhile is done with others. Together enmeshed in one another, side by side, no space breaks the multiple telling of our stories. We are speaking at the same time. We become echoes to each other, to the beings and the ways of living around us. When a printed form, letter, story, act runs through the press, all the forms begin backwards, asking us to trust and become used to the slow act of reading in a way that we aren't used to. Painted on the walls of a center devoted to bookmaking and printmaking, a nod to the backwards letter felt so right. I think about when you watch a spider build its web. First, it looks like a series of abstract shapes spun from delicate strings. And then before you know it, it has become a full-on vessel for a future meal, survival, a process of one's embodiment. We are all speaking at the same time. We become echoes to each other. We slow to build our support structures. We rely on living rooms and backyards and care packages and arms to create new worlds in. In the spring of 2020, I craved the feeling of marching behind a big banner in the streets together. The safety of gathering behind and around and holding up a large curtain like banner that states our demands. the act of being in the streets with loved ones and friends and strangers and future community, the protection of words, language, voice, the forms painted on bed sheets and cloth and t-shirts popping out in a sea of people. When a protest banner gets held by many in the streets, it becomes a curtain for the performance and embodiment of resistance, liberation, protest. When a piece of fabric is unrolled onto a wooden table, it becomes a tablecloth. Next comes the dishes, food, and people. A meal is about to be shared. A conversation is about to begin. When many strings are knotted and tied together, they become a net, a basket, a holder. Nets for carrying, nets for resting on, nets to trap and transport. When the claiming of safe spaces becomes essential to survival, chosen communities, neighbors, friends, and lovers come together and become that needed space. This web is a space for holding, for creating safety and dialogue, an invitation to work within it, around it, because of it, becoming and echoing forms, structures, patterns, and ways that Black, Brown, Indigenous, queer, trans, non-binary, two-spirit, people of color form kinship, radical community, spaces of survival and dialogues rooted in resistance. These are our rules, tools, forms of connectivity, which is the title of this wall installation that you see here. Becomes the banner, the tablecloth, the holder of friends and community, a web, net, sacred space, curtain for an ecosystem of work that shares roots. Rituals here is the stage, the vessel, the keeper of this work, a reminder that it takes tending to, returning to again and again, repetition, the multiple, the print, the welcome back to be committed to the lifelong work of connectivity. I like to think of kinship as a ritual, attending organizing meetings as a ritual, tending to an altar as a ritual, reading aloud to friends as a ritual, learning from our movement elders as a ritual, painting a mural as a ritual. In this net of words and forms of connectivity are 5 publications made over the past 3 years. I don't know if someone has their video unmuted, but if you don't mind muting, I think that would be really helpful for clear understanding. Thank you. In this net of words and forms of connectivity are 5 publications made over the past 3 years, not often shown together, but always speaking the same words. On a shelf painted with blue nets, like an arm reaching for a hug, these publications become tactile offerings to folks who visit, rituals between pages and books and hands, an active space, an altar to be flipped through and played with. So I'm just gonna switch gears and kind of lead you through these 5 offerings that are sit on the shelf and sit on this installation. Rituals Here, which was made for the Richmond, Virginia iteration of this work, was created in the spring of 2022. It's a 1-page fold-out newspaper made in collaboration with Agustin Zegers, Ty Little, Ayana Zaire Cotton, and Amaris Carreras, and was designed by Archard Apareo. On the front side, you can see a pixelated photograph of an altar that all of the collaborators created collectively. And on the inside, which is not pictured, is a sliver of offerings made by these 4 collaborators, a score for a performance, a scent tour, and an ever-growing word bank. And this newspaper acted as the archive for a 4-part project that this former Rituals Here iteration looked like, that was released a month after the physical show came down, given away for free, and kind of acting like this continual archive or continual sharing of news that was created in dialogue with these 4 artists. Was just kind of like a beautiful moment to have the name Rituals Here, which is seen in this newspaper, then like lay and kind of become the background to, or maybe like the clues to understanding this iteration. Released a few months ago in the winter of 2022 with Printed Matter Inc., We Web Keepers is a 20-page digitally printed newspaper that untangles and retangles a story about the web. A mix of words and drawings and patterns that are all in dialogue. With an incredible foreword written by Ayana Zaire Cotton, this publication is ready to be in your hands. You can buy it on the store of Center for Book Arts or in Printed Matter, online or in person, and is kind of this this more direct ode to the web, or this more like direct call-in of the character that the web has played in my work and in my practice and in these publications. Yes, shout out to Joaquin, who's reading it right now, I'm seeing, and is a special kind of offering to kind of be flipped through and opened, and each spread kind of offering a different layer, or a different kind of like tangled or untangled part of the story. I was really interested in the invitation that Center for Book Arts put out to me, not only to show publications or works that look like books, but also think about this whole kind of like ecosystem, this mural, this installation as a spread in a book, that none of these books live in isolation, but they live on top of each other in a stack, and kind of getting their pages or their patterns tangled. So to be able to show installation work and show this kind of large painted mural side by side, these publications felt like new special honoring work. A collective survival archive, which is an 11 by 17 3-color risograph poster of words tangled in a web, based on a painting with text from a conversation with a beloved friend, Lee Ray Walsh, reworked to be made into a poster. It reads, "Our kinship is sacred, vital, lube ritual," and was printed with Childish Books as a free takeaway poster for a show in Portland, Oregon last September. Published with Endless Editions, led by Paul John and Hanson Coleman, We Are All Speaking at the Same Time, was designed, printed, and bound in the winter of 2020, a 30-page 7-color risograph book, which states brightly colored demands, chants, sayings, gossip overheard on the bus and at gay bars and in the streets, together and side by side. And lastly, Slow Looking, These Views Are Our Tools, which was published by Childish Books in 2021, which uses the viewfinder as a guide to slow looking and deep listening. Inspired by Karita Kent's pedagogy of this tool, this 2-color risograph spiral bound book comes with 2 viewfinders and a series of prompts to guide a walk, a wander, a slow looking practice. So that kind of concludes my sharing of the show, the iteration of rituals here. But we're gonna kind of like switch gears into like becoming more of a collective body of folks that are here this evening. It's important always to to introduce and think about this work in dialogue and with others. Like I said earlier, none of these books kind of operate in their own worlds, but they're kind of like whispering to the book next to each other and asking for books to be picked up and for kind of new iterations to be made over again and again. So altars for now, rituals for today. So in honor of us gathering today, I want to invite all of y'all in the creation of a ritual that will be tended by you for today, for this hard week, for this muck of a moment and the beauty of the full moon. We are going to create a few digital altars together and then write some recipes for a ritual that we are craving for ourselves and for our loved ones, to be activated by ourselves and by each other today, tonight, a later date. I just want us to kind of, as I'm going to show a few examples of altars from my collection, from my life, just to get our juices flowing. But I want us to think, as we kind of look through some of these images, about rituals for the everyday, that sacred acts must happen daily as tending to this collective work that we are doing for worlds that look different and are looking different in the worlds of yesterday, and how you may think about your tending to self, neighborhood, community, state, planet as a ritual and as an act that we do together. An altar for getting through COVID. An altar made by many to reclaim a site of white supremacy, with a smaller altar within it to honor Marcus David Peters. An altar that calls in a missing of closeness with a friend. An altar in a picnic basket to be set up at a later time. An altar in your honor for those it doesn't yet know it needs to honor. An altar to Black trans liberation. An altar to tending the earth, dirt, soil as altar, as honoring, as reparations. To flight in time and space and heart and becoming, an altar to the way the desert holds me. A ritual of the mouth, forming words and shapes and kisses. Okay, so I'm going to stop share for a moment. Thank you all for being here. Maybe just a shared breath as we transition to entering into a space of our own, not only receiving words from me, but also collectively making words together. So if folks want to find a pen and paper or pencil or iPhone notes or something to take note with and something to take those notes onto, I'll give folks a few minutes, but maybe just finding those and kind of like placing them next to you. Okay, so I feel honored to have feel like I'm a well-seasoned Zoom user in the ways that is so incredible that so many folks have taught us to become. And I have been thinking, I think when we first started using Zoom, I was like, how do we make Zoom like also ours? Like, how do we make it not only like on this screen where we see all of each other's faces, but how do we also make it a space that we can like collectively be in? And so as a lover of the Google Doc, we're going to open up a shared Google Doc, and I'll put the link in the chat. This is a blank document, but I'm going to ask us to fill it as much as we can, as much as we want to, with ingredients for a ritual of today. And that might look like a candle, it might look like smells, it might look like tastes, it might look like ingredients in whatever ingredients mean to you. I just put the link in the chat if folks are able to open it. Also, if you're not able to open it and you want to use the chat as our ingredients list, feel free to put in ingredients to an altar, an offering, a ritual for today in the chat, and I'll copy it into the document. Are folks able to see it, open it? So yeah, let's just spend a few minutes thinking of ingredients for a ritual that we are crafting together, and see where that goes.
Do you want us to just jump in, or how are you expecting us to participate?
Yeah, so I don't know if you're able to open up the link that I put in the chat. If you can, you could start there, and it'll lead you to a document that everyone on this Zoom room has access to. So one option is that you could put offerings or participate in that form. You could also put offerings in the chat, and I can drag them over into our digital altar creation. Is that helpful? Clear? More questions?
Yeah, but okay, open chat, but all I see looks like a link. Is that what I'm supposed to open?
Yeah, click on that.
Okay, I don't know what to do next here, but
If you are able to type on that document and you want to put in ingredients, materials, tastes, smells, feel free to put it there.
uh,
If you want to upload a photo, you can also do that. If you want to put a drawing or change any of the colors or text, feel free to do that too. Okay. Let's spend maybe 1 more minute on this ingredients list. Feel free to look through the list. Maybe there's an ingredient that somebody else mentioned that you want to highlight or copy. So I'm going to put another link in the chat. And this time we're going to think about what this altar, what this ritual is dedicated to. Is it a person? Is it a being, a plant, an animal, a community that needs love right now? Oh yeah, that's the second link that I just shared. We are making an altar together. We're doing it. Feel free to look through the list. If there's something that is resonating with you, feel free to make it bigger or repeat it. Maybe there are altars around your home or people that you're sharing space with that you want to call in this way. So our altar building will continue always. These documents will stay live beyond this event tonight. If you want to come back or look at them at any point, may they be food for the future for us, reminders of this act that we can do together on Zoom, on Google Docs, together with strangers and loved ones tonight. So if you want to get out your paper or your pencil or pen materials for writing and marking, maybe it's also maybe it's another Google Doc that it's your own, however you want to, whatever materials you want to use. And we're going to think about both with in honor of our dedication list and also our ingredient lists, what is a recipe for a ritual that can be enacted by you tonight or tomorrow or this week that maybe calls on some of these folks and places and people and demands in the dedication list as these offerings that we continue to tend to. So we're going to just spend a little bit of time to do some solo creating of a recipe for ourselves or for a loved one or for a furry friend in your life. And then hopefully come back and maybe share our rituals with each other and close out with that. I'm also going to put a few questions in the chat that maybe you will ask yourself as you're writing this ritual. I know sometimes it can be hard to like write or create on the spot when you're used to like receiving information in this way. So yeah, I'm just gonna pour those into the chat. Maybe that looks funky in the chat, but maybe that's kind of hard to read. Maybe it's okay. I'll read them aloud too. Maybe that's helpful. What's on your heart or mind that feels important to you to center? What is a dedication, desire, care, need, person that you might want to make an altar or a ritual for? In what ways have you been thinking about this dedication lately? And what are some supportive songs that might hold this dedication? are folks feeling? How are your recipes coming along? Still working on them. Do folks need more time? Maybe 5 more minutes and then we share? This can also be a draft of a recipe. Maybe it needs more figuring out time and will get recreated or performed at a later time. Also, if you're feeling lost, feel free to go to our lists, our digital altars, to see if there are ingredients that other people wrote down that you are inspired to use for your making of your ritual. Hey, Camilo, do you mind putting the links back in the chat for our newest guest? You'll see 2 links, one which leads you to a list of ingredients for a ritual or for an altar, and another one which is dedications, dedicating these altars to. Right now we're crafting and making recipes for rituals that we will tend to tonight or in the future, so feel free to join however you want to. Our lists are beautiful. I don't know if folks have read them, but they're getting longer. An altar to making more time together, an altar for travel through space, rocks, sand, seashells, a text thread so long I am swimming. My favorite animal is here. Thanks to whoever added that incredible cheetah drawing. It is on the ingredients list. It is worth looking at. Dedicated to their memories, bright on our minds, to the soil that tends infinitely, turning matter, into food, into blossom, into pollen, filled air. This is space if folks want to read or share a part of their ritual that they wrote or am imagining tonight, this afternoon. Feel free to unmute and share if you wish, or hold up your words to the screen or type them in the chat. No way is the wrong way. I'm gonna pin you so we can see you.
I'll read some. My handwriting.
Okay.
I wrote walk towards Greenwood, which is a local cemetery. Place flowers in my mind at their grave. Water my plants, water myself. Take a bath. Trade photos with Shilyu. Regard the moon. Pet Nomi. Pet Juju. Pet Rafa. Kiss smiles.
Thank you. Can I pin you? I'm gonna pin you so we can see. Words to feel, words to be seen, to see, a ritual to cultivate softness, a ritual of gentleness towards parts of myself that I have kept hidden. Thank you. Water myself got a shout out in the chat. It is beautiful.
I can read mine.
Yes, please.
This is a recipe for a gathering of my beloveds. My ritual recipe is one of flight. It starts with blimps, airplanes, helicopters, jets, flying my beloveds to be all together. My sogra, my child, my sisters, my brothers. We are traveling to the desert, we're traveling to the ocean, we're traveling to the garden, from inside prisons, from other countries, other parts of this country, from ethereal space, not even on this earth. This will be a space of resting. The recipe calls for many minutes of laughter, more minutes of yummy food, and at the same time, many, many, many minutes of massage, if someone wants it. Maybe a poem or two if anyone wants to share it. And we will sing Bring Me Little Water, Sylvie, and we who believe in freedom cannot rest, even though we will rest together.
This was perfect. There's a sound of an airplane going at the end of that. So the flight is happening.
Oh, yeah.
Willie wants to fly there with you too. Does anyone else want to share?
We'll fly you in.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not long. It's it does that
We
doesn't.
can't,
Well, that's
because
interesting.
you're
That
at the beach. It's
Yeah,
too
I'm at the
windy
beach.
at
I
the
know.
beach.
It's funny, yeah, because I was in a Zoom session the other day, and someone said, "How do I put a background on?" And somebody explained I'd never done it, so I did it, and all of a sudden it was snowing out, and I was in the tropics, and didn't have to worry about going out in the cold. I felt so much better just having this background next to me.
Thank goodness for our virtual imagination. Do you want to read it to us since we can't, since it's so
Yeah,
windy
it's
where
it's
you
in
are?
pencil and it's invisible. It's amazing. Anyway, it says it's very simple. It says it used some of the different things from the everybody's stuff, but it says bring a stack of old paper to the Center for Book Arts for people to make blank books. We'll eat fresh tortillas and have a jammy, tangy pear tart with warm herbal tea.
Thank you so much, Richard. And we must be at the beach when we do all of that too. Well, thank you so much for being here. I don't know if anyone feels called to share in our final moments together, but may we tend to these rituals that we have created together tonight, tomorrow, and in the future, and pull them out whenever we need to. And may we make new ones when we need to make new ones, and call on each other to craft and hold these spaces together. It's been an honor to share this time with all of y'all. And yeah, like Camilo said, the show has been extended until the end of June. So if you find yourself in Midtown's a wild place, but Center for Book Arts is a gem. Yeah, so honored to spend all this time with all of y'all. Like I said, the ingredients and dedication lists will stay up if you need to visit them or add to them at any point. That cheetah is really like stealing the show in a beautiful way. Thank you so much. Maybe these are the cheetah makers on view.
Speak up. Can you say that you draw with 6 and your name is Leah?
Thank you. This is very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. Take care, y'all. Amazing.
Okay, wonderful. Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna quickly stop this end stream. Okay, and yeah.